There are fights you see in comic books. And then there's Deadpool versus Wolverine in a lout. Picture some nondescript Canadian forest. Why? Because that's where Wolverine is most at home, stalking through the pines, claws at the ready, looking for peace and quiet, or at least his next justification to stab someone. Absolutely nonsensical slugfest between two of Marvel's most unkillable wisenesses. Not a bear, not a mountie, just a red-suited lunatic, humming the Golden Girls theme song and talking to someone who's definitely not there. Wrong. Deadpool. It takes a moment to scroll through Wolverine's Wikipedia page, helpfully providing the audience with a running commentary. Born in the 1800s, Canadian likes long walks through Weapon X labs. Prone to angst? Not really. You can slice, dice, blast, and banter all you want. But when both guys can regrow practically everything except their sense of shame, it never ends. Who gets to watch two immortals beat the stuffing out of each other? We'll be back after these messages. And because with these two, you always know there's going to be a next round. For no reason other than it's just fun to see what happens when you let chaos and Canadian rage collide. The fights keep happening, sometimes on the page, sometimes on the screen, and sometimes on the minds of fans who want to know what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable Canadian. Well, good luck ending the fight. Would definitely cry during Titanic, but pretends not to. Wolverine grumbles. He's got a point. Deadpool does have a way of cutting deeper with words than swords. If there's anything Deadpool loves more than tacos, it's a fight that never ends. And possibly several protected plant species. A local Mountie drives by, realizes who's fighting, and wisely keeps going. And with Wolverine's patience measured in milliseconds, the escalation is inevitable. Why not? Maybe Deadpool heard Wolverine got top billing in another reboot movie. Maybe Wolverine just finally, after decades, hit his limit with the chimichanga jokes. The details really don't matter. They're here. They're armed with more snark than sense. Things are about to get ugly. Wolverine rolls his eyes, says something about amateurs, and proceeds to charge through an explosion like it's just a day at the office. Deadpool, missing most of his limbs, is somehow still talking. Wolverine looking like he just lost a bar fight with a wood chipper. There's a silent understanding, a temporary truce, sealed with threats and sarcasm. Deadpool cracks a joke about sequels. Wolverine pretends not to hear him, taunts Wolverine's healing factor, and for a moment, you might actually feel bad for Logan. The kind of showdown that leaves half a forest smoldering, city block evacuated, and a half-dozen jump cuts to gratuitous healing factor montages. Deadpool, dual katanas out, leaps from a tree, slashing, shooting, taunting. The air is thick with one-liners, ricocheting bullets, and the distinct sound of adamantium slicing leather. Doing the worst possible Spider-Man impression. Wolverine catches him, mid-joke, and tosses him 50 feet into a snowbank. That's round 1. Wolverine, 1. Deadpool, 0. Ego, still intact. Let's set the stage. And somewhere in the bushes, there's movement. Deadpool, Wade Wilson, the one-man annoyance engine. Now, if you're asking why they're fighting, the better question might be, here's how it starts. But Deadpool, as we all know, treats decapitation more like a minor inconvenience than a finishing move. So he's up again. Wolverine, of course, is taking this seriously. Very seriously. Wolverine's shirt is already half shredded, and for some reason, his hair is even more spiky than normal. That is the beauty of a healing factor battle. It is a war of attrition where nothing, and I mean nothing, stays cut off for long. As in, I haven't had a good fight in weeks, bub, and you're kinda serious. He means each snicked with his claws, which, by the way, Deadpool cannot help but narrate out loud, like a deranged sports commentator. By the 5th minute, Deadpool's lost a limb, one katana, and most of his dignity. Not that he had much to start with. Now, you'd think that eventually they'd get tired, right? There's a brief pause. We'll call it an intermission. By now, they've demolished a small cabin, a canoe. Things take a turn when Deadpool, in a rare flash of brilliance, brings out a bag of grenades. But here's the catch. Neither of them can win. Eventually they're both lying there, Deadpool, in 2 or 3 detachable pieces. And that, more or less, is the story of Deadpool versus Wolverine. In the end, nobody really wins, except maybe the audience. And above it all, Deadpool winks at the camera and says,